are we able to start a body scan and see what's happening to the body?
So we're scanning now, and everything looks good. There's a little bit of pressure in her head that we're going to release for her. And that's all we're seeing right now.
What's going on with the pressure in your head?
So she is feeling the pressure from the atmosphere of the environment around her, with the heat coming on, that it's creating this pressure between the clouds and the earth. And she's also she's experiencing some of the timeline shift. Her equilibrium was thrown off a little bit, and so we're helping recalibrate the crystals within her ears.
And so you're able to balance her and be able to equalize her?
Yes, we're doing that right now.
Oh, nice. And how will she feel after the session?
She'll feel really clear, and she'll feel balanced again, not like she was feeling a little earlier.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me the difference between this timeline and the other timeline?
This timeline that we are in right now is where a lot of the 3D denseness is falling off. And so it's more of a lighter timeline, which you are now shifted into. And so in doing that, it has released some of that denseness.
And what's the significance of us being in this new timeline?
Because there was a vast difference between, it was getting to the point where there was tension between the two timelines, between 3D and 5D. It was creating such a tug of war because the gap in between was getting so big, like a Grand Canyon, like a huge canyon. Like the place in between of the canyon was getting too wide, and like a magnet pulling towards each other. They were just like fighting each other from that pull. And so it released some of that 3D to bring the 3D timeline closer to 4D in a way where it's now less of a gap, like between the two timelines.
I see. And so what, if you had to label the timeline that carries on now, what would you label that timeline as being?
Her timeline is more 5D. She's just at the end of 4D. So she is in the more 5D timeline as can be experienced with the gravitational pull of Earth.
I see. And in terms of the Schumann resonance being offline for, I think, 5 days, what can you tell us about that?
The Schumann resonance was off because of the timeline shift, because it had to be, it could be recorded. However, it was all of the recording tools for any type of environmental shift that agencies or any companies or anything have. They saw what was happening, and instead of letting people be aware, they just pulled the plug in a way. So it still could have been recorded. However, they knew what was happening with the timeline shift. They could see the measurements on their recording devices, and so what they did was just pull the plug.
I see. And so what happened to the other timeline that we were in?
It, like, we're just showing Carrie that it kind of like fell away.
And in terms of the timeline that we are in now, are we going to merge into another timeline at some point?
No, right now it's more or less that like the awakening, like people had, there was enough of an awakening and information. So now, like, instead of people being, or any like of the humanity being anchored in 3D, it's like they're more or less, like, now they're more awake and they're more anchored in like 4D. However, there is 5D as well, and higher, but they, like, it's this is what it's going to be until the ascension.
I see. And can you tell me what physically, we know that there is a 3D and we hear that we're going to move to a 5D. But what is physical in 4D?
4D is not physical, 4D is time.
Right. And so thank you very much for that. And then we were wondering about the reason why Carrie was sensing and feeling the pressure potentially of an earthquake occurring soon for her region.
Yes, she has been notified off of different websites or information of the earthquakes. She is very sensitive. Her location experiences that whole Pacific coast, experiences a lot of different earthquakes. And so she's been attuned to that like shift in pressure, and her body feels it, even though like she doesn't consciously know what it, like all those things are. She may wake up with certain, ailments or something, but she's now getting to the point where she can really tune into them and know when they're about to come, just by those changes in her body and what she senses around her. And that's the energy work. It's just, she's changing, like she's sensing the energy changes within her bubble.
I see. And so what would you like me to know about what she's sensing at the moment?
Yeah, we've been showing it to her, but there is, in her area, there is going to be an earthquake, and the earthquakes within the area of her state are going to cause that state to go, it's going to break apart.
Will she get to experience that, or will that be something that will happen after she shifts?
That will be, she will experience some of the smaller ones, but the bigger ones are what are going to be her exit point.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And in terms of her exit point into 5D, because we've had many sessions with her and we know that she's shifting to the new earth, is that still correct?
Yes.
Lucky her. Okay, so can you tell me why she chose to experience the shift as she has?
She has chose to experience the shift as she has, because it is part of her role to help the people on the ships, and it is the most logical thing for her, given the background and the history that she has with her grandmother and all the information, that she believes it truly with her heart, that all of that technology exists. And so she is going to go on the ship to help other beings transition to their awakening on 5D New Earth.
Right. So they have in their life contracts that they will transition into their awakening on ships to where they will then merge and go to the new earth. Is that correct?
Yes, it's in their life contracts, and ships do exist. And so to give them a physical sense of a transportation is something that is very calming and very soothing.
I see. And so for those people who will awaken on the ships to then get that sense of being taken to travel to the new earth, what will they notice with their bodies that experience of being on the ship?
So they will notice like like kind of like a in between out of body experience. Their bodies will feel lighter, but they'll still have connection with a denseness that they're used to feeling on their skin. And so if we were to do it where it was completely of light source with no crystalline, and awaken that way, that would, for a lot of beings, that would traumatize them because they're used to feeling a heavy cloak on their bodies. They're used to that weight. And so if you went straight from, that weight to waking up to like no density whatsoever, that could lower the vibration and cause them to kind of like have some trauma in that awakening. And so by just like pulling some of the denseness off when they wake up with crystalline, that they'll still feel the connection with their cells.
I see. I see. Thank you. And for those people who do feel traumatized from the shifting and their experience on the ships, um, would that take them longer to be able to then merge out to the new earth? Can you tell me about why some people could take a longer time to be in transition from the 3 to the 5D?
Yes, so it's like waking up slowly from a deep sleep. You kind of just assimilate to what that feeling is around you. So if your body mind and body aren't connected to this idea of new earth, or the awakening to a crystalline body, that can cause the trauma. And so what you can do is in stages where you kind of slowly gradually release them from a sleep where they can connect back with their body. And then when they do connect, it's going to feel lighter, but they've been in such a deep sleep that it won't feel like it's too light where it's uncomfortable for them.
I see. Um, is there going to be people who don't want to go to the new earth because they've been pretty adamant that the shift is just a state of mind?
It's not that they won't go to new earth, is that it's going to take them a little bit longer around the concept. Those who
Mm,
understand and have peace with the new earth predominantly will be awake for the shift. Those who are more of a 5D vibration but don't know or acknowledge new earth will still be asleep, but it's going to take them less time to wake up. Those who are of lower vibration, don't know about earth, are going to then the whole time take us to gradually awaken them and to help them wake up. So it's just different stages and of awareness.
mm. So Carrie's role on the ship after the shifts would she stay there and help every single soul slowly awaken, or when is she going to move and be on the new earth?
No, she is going to help the people that she has in her soul family that may or may not be awake. And she's going to be helping those that she's had connections with here on earth that are going to be on the ship and help them, but not all.
Oh, nice. So she's going to be directly helping those that she knows personally, whether it's this lifetime or soul family.
Yes, that's part of the information that's gathered on this earth. Is she would watch people's personalities, watch their behaviors a lot in the in the interactions in relationships. And so she kind of like was studying them like a aquarium tank. And so that information is going to then be tapped into to help her know exactly like how to transmit the information, or what light healing they need to soothe them, to bring them to an awakening.
I see. And so, uh, will she have direct communication and be talking to them, or is it something else?
At first, she will project words, that it's more or less going to be her hands, and like she's sending the energy from her head, like she's encompassing it all, like she's sending an energy from her heart, her hands, and her head, better than like creating some of the communication. But to make them feel comfortable, she's not going to use vocals, she's going to imprint in their mind what it would feel like for them to hear her. So it's not actually going to be her speaking through like vocal cords. They are going to be perceiving her speaking, as if it were on earth. But then in time, they will then hear it, that it's a transmission of energy from her. And so it'll take a while to kind of change that way of communication.
And is this why it's important for her to do have has been doing a lot of her own inner work? So then, when she does shift, she will be of pure service.
Yes, and she doesn't, any of that lower vibration would, yeah, naturally, not go with you. However, there can be small imprints of it. And when you use this type of communication, you have to be, like, cannot imprint that information on the other person of like trauma. You can't, like, if you take it with you and you put it in your energy vibration, it's almost imprinted on them. So the energy work and the like her inner work has been to clear all of that so that it doesn't imprint when she creates that form of communication moving forward.
Makes perfect sense. And I think that would be really motivational and rewarding for all those people that do want to be of service, to know that all of the inner work and the journey that they are doing and have been doing is going to be profoundly not only respecting for themselves, but to be able to be of service to others.
Yes, and we think that that's where the bonus months, what we've been trying to explain, is that the bonus months are going to help in mastering kind of these tools and finishing your inner work on earth, so that when the ascension happens, you can be of even more service. It's going to be easier, and you won't have to go into any healing of any sort to remove that um, imprint before helping others.
Nice, I understand. Thank you so much. And when she reflects back on her journey on this lifetime, and knows and can see how far she's come, can you give her a sense of how proud she would feel of herself when she reflects back and can see the totality of everything that she has mastered in this lifetime?
Yes, we're sending her, and she's feeling like that light, and she feels like golden, like in coming out of her chest. Like it's just, she's really proud of herself because of how many times that she did want to turn back. She did want to end her life contract, and she knew that there was something telling her, this strong will, that fighting something with her, that she's really proud that she just never succumbed to it.
Fantastic. I would love for her to be able to experience herself feeling profoundly proud of herself for all that she is going to, all that she has done, and all that she's going to do for humanity. So, are you able to give her this boost right now?
Yes, we're giving it to her, and she's very, very happy.
Nice. Good motivation right there, I think.
Yes, and she's smiling, and she just wants everyone to feel this way, and to really be proud of themselves and really push themselves to get to this point, because to be of service to humanity is the best gift. And that really, it that alone just makes you feel even more whole, that you can love so selflessly. So it's just, it's really, she is proud of herself, and she just wants everyone to feel this way.
Yes, of course. That is a tremendous thing to want for others. And we all hope that everyone can reflect back on how well they're doing, and they know within themselves um, what their responsibilities are. And we all want, we all love reward systems and being proud of ourselves that we have been of service. I could not imagine something more significant overriding that joy and those feelings. Is there anything, can we do anything? Is there anything that we can do in a 3D life that would make us feel any more proud of ourselves?
No, I mean, besides like showing Carrie, like the comparable is like bringing another life into this earth is the only thing that we show her that feels like, and that in a way is doing the same thing. It's service, to humanity or to a collective that needs, a vessel. It's, but it's the similar, to give people perspective, that feeling. It's just, um, it feeds your soul, and it really does just, give you that higher vibration, and it lets all that 3D stuff just fall away to the sides. Because when you have that perspective of just, of hearing another person's story, or like that connection with another being and helping, it just, that other 3D stuff just like nonsense.